All righty, everybody. We look like we are live here on Stogie 411. It appears that our chat room and our parachat on our website is having some small technical difficulties, and that is parachat's issue. So whoever lucky enough to get in, got in, and those who aren't, you will just have to listen to the show and unfortunately not be able to participate in our You Ask It show, which is a fan favorite. But joining me from the frozen tundra of Pennsylvania is my buddy and sidekick and partner in crime, Mikey. How you doing there, buddy?
Freaking cold. That's how I'm doing. Man. Yeah, I mean, snow's coming down again. It's just lovely weather out here. And so, you can see, I didn't take a puff of cigar, and you can see the smoke coming out of my mouth. So it's a bit chilly.
Oh, yeah, it looks cold. I just got kicked out of the chat room, so it does look like Parachat's having a major problem. I just got kicked out again, so...
Well, you know what? We can do this to resolve that. If you have any questions, and if Parachat's having this problem, which they should be getting bitched at for because people pay for that service, on Twitter, just send us a message, like a private message, either to Mike's account, my account, or the Stogie 411 account. And we can get it that way, too. Or if you have our phone numbers, you can just text it to us if you have questions. But keep checking the chat, see if you can get back in after a certain time. I can't even get in. I've been trying ever since Mike and I got on.
Yeah, I'm back in now, so it's definitely seemed to be working. I just asked everybody in the chat room, I want to make sure before we got going any farther that everybody could hear us good. So everybody says they can hear us fine, see us fine, so let's just continue on and go from there. So, Mikey, why don't you take away, ask the first question, and we'll get to it.
Well, I'm going to start with number 7.
Oh, you're going to fucking jump around on me.
Yes, I am.
All right.
Why? Because I'm smoking and I don't want to have to take the band off and people won't see it. Steve asks, what's your top 3 cigars you smoked last year? And I'll let you go ahead, Mike.
Why are you asking me? You review cigars and did a top 10, you prick. Now, I'm not prepared. All right, I'll give you my top 3. I will. I'm kind of prepared. Coming in at number 3 would probably be Mason-Dixon South. That would be my number 3. My number 2 cigar, and I just smoked it recently, and Mike's going to laugh, but I would have to agree with Mike in a different sense. I would say the Luchador was my number 2. I thought that was a great smoke. But my number 1 cigar that I smoked would be the Tatuaje Tattoo. I think that cigar was awesome. I love the complexity of it, the taste of it. But I would say those would be my top 3 cigars if I was a cigar reviewer. But since I'm not, and I don't know shit, I'm going to send it over to Mikey, who's an official cigar reviewer, and he can tell me who his top 3 is.
Well, I mean, if you saw my list, everybody would know. But my top is that right there, the Luchador. I absolutely love this cigar. I think Sam Lucia did a wonderful job with this. And it blows the black and white out of the water, I think, for his first releases. But then, there's a lot of cigars that I really like. The Aperitivo, Bodega cigars. I love that cigar and the Petit Corona. Illusione Rothschilds is going to probably be on my list for years until he quits making it, because that cigar just fits. It fits a niche. It's a nice short smoke, not overpowering. It's just a great little cigar. But yeah, it's kind of disheartening. I haven't had a chance to try some of the cigars. Like, Mike, have you tried the Noblesse?
Yes.
See, I didn't even try that because people were raving about that one.
Yep, that's good. I wouldn't put it in my top 3, but that's just me. Oh. Yeah, but it's a damn fine cigar. I agree. And that's the funny thing when people ask these questions. What are your top 3? Everybody's palate's different. You know what I mean? What I think is the best, you may not, or what others think the best, I may not. And there's no right or wrong. It's just what you enjoy. Like, I'm smoking, for instance, this Perdomo vintage 12 year. This is my first time having it. It's a big boy, and man, I'm only in the first third, and I'm digging the cigar. It's pretty good. You got one yourself, right, Mike?
Yeah, I have one in my humidor. I got the Salomon shape, but I didn't smoke it yet because I'm smoking the Luchador today because I know what it tastes like. I've enjoyed plenty of them already. It's my number one cigar, so I wanted to smoke it for the show. But out here in the cold, I'm not going to sit out here for 2.5 hours and just enjoy a cigar and revel in what it's giving me because I would be freaking cold. Hey, snow's coming in the porch. You might see snow coming down in front of the camera. Nice.
You're out there freezing your ass off. I tell you, I give you props for that, man. You're better man than I am, that's for sure. All right. Well, so there you go. Who was that for? That was for Steve. All right, Steve. There's your question. I hope I don't go back to it and get all confused. I feel bad. The chat room's so light, but with the damn issue, that pisses me off. Anyways, all right. We're going to go to question number 1 from Josh, and Josh wants to know, what's your guys' thoughts on the purchase of Drew Estates? Do you think the quality will still be there, and will Jonathan? So I'm going to send it over to the hippie for his thoughts. So take it away.
Yes and yes. I think the quality is going to be there for quite a while. I think Jonathan Drew and, oh my God, Samuel. No. Yeah. Anyway, I think they're going to be there. I just got a brain fart. It's
the cold.
Yeah, it could be. So I'm sorry. Yeah, the other guy at Drew Estate.
Steve. I just told you.
No, not. You're thinking of Saka. He's not there.
Who else you thinking of?
Samuel. Mark, no.
Anyways,
hell,
I can't think of it either. The guy you're talking, the other guy.
Yeah. They'll get it in the chat room probably, but I won't be able to see because I can't even get on.
I'll tell you.
But I think they're gonna, with the sale like that, I think they've had to sign something where they're going to be on for at least a few years. I don't think they're going to be just leaving, and abandoning Drew Estates. Now, people always say, well, what's going to happen down the road? That's immediate. Immediate, I don't think there's going to be any changes whatsoever. Right. I think the good part is going to be they have the money of Swisher behind them. Swisher is the number 1 selling cigar in the world. Not premium cigar, just cigar.
I'm glad you said that. I was about to correct you.
Yeah, it's just the cigar.
And Samuel.
Marvin, that's it. Sorry. Sorry, Marvin. I just totally forgot your name. But no, I think it's going to be great in the short run. The long term is going to depend on whether or not they stay, and that is going to be the determining factor, I think. If they've signed some 10-year commitment, then you won't have to worry for a while. But if it's only like a 1 to 3 year commitment, then I'm a little worried what's going to happen when that's up, if they're going to stay on or if they're going to just scoot away. So, yeah. I don't know, that's my thoughts. What do you think?
No, I would agree with you in a nutshell. I think definitely why Marvin and Steve are still Steve. I actually got Steve on the brain. Jesus Christ. Marvin and Jonathan are still there. I agree they're still going to have a big influence on what comes out of that factory. I agree with you. I think there's going to be I don't think they were struggling financially at all, but I think there's going to be even more financial backing to maybe purchase more bulk of tobacco. Certain tobacco that maybe they wanted in the past and could only get a little bit of. Now I think they'll have the financial needs to get a lot of it. So I think production may go up. And I agree with you. I think they're going to be on for a while. I don't know if they don't have a no-compete clause if later on they leave. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I mean, it's always interesting. It was interesting when, General took over CAO. It was interesting, when La Gloria EP had nothing to do with La Gloria anymore, Right. And it seems like, for the most part, most of those companies still have come out with quality cigars, I don't think they still have that the pizzazz or the attitude that the other people had, and I mean that in a positive way. some of the marketing schemes, I hate to say schemes, but the marketing ideas that these other guys came up with over at CAO. I don't think it's there with General, but yeah, I think they're still going to do fine. I think you're going to still enjoy their tobacco. I think you're still going to enjoy the cigars. You're still going to find that quality. But there's everybody out there who's going to say, oh my God, Swisher Sweets, who's, let's be honest, is well known more for, not less handmade products than, you say Swisher Sweets, everybody thinks of the, the little tiny cigarillos that are in the store. So, with that being said, I think everything's going to be just fine. Everything's going to be great. I think you're still going to continue to see some great quality come out of Drew Estates, and it'll be interesting to see what happens when Jonathan and Marvin's time is up. What's going to happen then? It's going to be interesting. Yeah. So, yeah, I agree with the hippie. So
yeah. All right. Question number 2, but 3 really. Brian wants to know, how loyal do you think manufacturers are to bloggers? I mean, do you think they really care what we say?
Ooh. All right. I take it you want me to start, right?
Yep, first.
How come I always get the difficult ones? I notice that when it's always me to start, I get the difficult ones. How loyal do you think manufacturers are to bloggers? It's kind of a vague question, because to me, what are you basing loyalty on? Are you basing loyalty on, do you think manufacturers send certain people free stuff because those people give them good reviews all the time? Or are you saying that a certain manufacturers come on people's show because they're always promoting them? And say, I don't know. I'll put it to you this way. I'm going to start with the second part first. And I've said this before when we've had shows. Do you think that they really care what you have to say? I'm going to say yes. I think they do care, both in a positive and a negative way. You got to remember, most of the people on the internet, on Twitter, blog sites, Instagram, Facebook, they're doing all these things themselves. They're not, not most of them. Some of them are not getting paid for what they do. Some of them are making money off of advertisement. But it's still, even the ones that are making money off of advertisement, they're still getting paid. They're still getting, not paid, they're still telling their true, honest opinions, in my opinion. I think the manufacturers care. I've dealt with manufacturers who have come to us and mentioned other sites that have said negative things towards them, and, if we agree with it, we get involved, and if we don't, we stay out of it. I do believe, though, that the manufacturers don't need us. I believe that to be true, and if anybody believes any site that they need you, I think you're really ludicrous. I think you're losing your mind. You're out in another world. They don't need us. They've gone on. Perdomo, look at Perdomo and Fuente, and I always use them for an example. They don't come on other shows. They don't advertise on people's sites for the most part, and they're still the two biggest players in the world. So I don't think they need us. I think they respect us. They appreciate what we do. I think some of them may take advantage, some may not, some may appreciate, some may not. I don't know. I can't speak for how they feel. I personally think that they appreciate us. And again, I don't think they need us. So that's my 2-second rant, and I'll let Mikey go on. I got to answer something in the chat room, so take it away, Mike.
Yeah, I think loyalty isn't really a question there. It comes down to whether or not if the blogger's telling the truth, it's great. If a blogger's out there just spouting, yes, every single cigar from this company is the best thing ever, of course that cigar company is going to look at him and go, ooh, we got to send him some more stuff, because who doesn't want good press?
Right.
Now, I do disagree a little bit with Mike about whether or not they need bloggers. I don't think the big boys need bloggers, but the little guys, I think, are helped tremendously. The boutique smokes.
Yeah, I mean, helping and needing is two different things.
Right. Because the whole dynamic has changed, from the early years of cigar smokers with magazines and newspapers and little local shops you would always go to. to now everybody is so spread out across the country and across the world that the internet is the number one medium for information. And for them to be able to get information out through bloggers, I think helps them tremendously, by doing that. But I don't think there's any loyalty per se there. Fred Rui is, he can be my bitch if he wants to, but other than that, Fred's from Nomad Cigars, if you don't know. Hi, Fred, if you're watching. Probably not, though, you bastard. But there's some manufacturers out there that I really like their product. I really like what they're doing. I really like what their idea is. Like John Huber. John and Mike, when they started with Crowned Heads, I think they have a great idea there. But is there loyalty? I'm not getting free product from every manufacturer out there. I'm not getting free product from even manufacturers that I love their cigars. So I don't know. I don't like the loyal term.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I think it's a vague question. I again will stick to they don't need us. They appreciate us, but they don't need us. And loyalty, what do you consider loyalty? My dog's loyal to me, but she's still an animal. I think she'd bite me if she had to. You know what I mean? So what do you define?
If you die.
Yeah, what do you define loyalty? It's a good question, and we appreciate your questions. We try our best, Brian. Thanks for asking it. But I don't know. Like, I'll stick with my guns. Again, we do help. It does help the free press, but do they still need us? No, they don't. They'll still go on and they'll still get notarized. Would it be as quick? I don't know. Probably not. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. That's a whole nother fucking debate for another time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's somebody.
Yeah.
I appreciate the questions. I don't want to sound like a jerk, because we really do. I know the fans love this show when we do the You Ask It, but man, sometimes they're
really difficult the way it's worded. Sometimes the questions.
Yeah, and you want to say it like it was sent to you, and you want to, it's just vague. It could come off as sounding negative, and not that I'm okay with telling the truth. If it's negative, it hurts. It hurts. It's the way I feel. But
and Brian, if you can phrase it a different way to narrow it down a little bit, hey, send us another question. We'll do it on another show.
Exactly. All right, let's go to question. Well, it'll be number 4, but it's number 5 because Mike screwed everything up and threw me off.
Actually, it's number 3.
Yeah, whatever. Tim asks a question. And Tim's question is why can't we hear or see you guys on iTunes anymore? Is it a pain because it's
a pain because
I can't make live shows?
That's easy.
Tell them why.
Hey, iTunes sucks. No. I had to get my Apple stuff in there. No. It's because we're not using Blip anymore because Blip told us we can't use them anymore.
Yep.
Because who knows, they went to some stupid little format or whatever. So, and with me being down here, I wouldn't be able to upload these huge shows anyway. It would never get there. So with us using what we're using now, I haven't figured out a way to get our video to go from like YouTube to iTunes. Now I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't use iTunes. I never had. I never liked it. But I'm not sure if you can subscribe to shows from YouTube through iTunes or not, because Google owns YouTube, so I don't know if that works or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but if you can't make the live shows, you can always, our shows are there. You can always watch them later. You don't even have to watch them. You can just listen to them. You can download. You can go to our website on your mobile phone, and you can still watch it and listen to it on your mobile phone.
Yep.
We have that ability, so. I'm sure it's probably easier from iTunes. I know in the beginning a lot of people did subscribe to iTunes to listen to us. Unfortunately, that's out of our control. Blip, for whatever reason, we fought it one time and we won, and they kept us on. And then we got in another debate, and then they said, nope, you're done. So, unfortunately, they had us by the cannolis for a moment, and that's it. So yeah, you can't listen to it in iTunes for now. Hopefully, maybe there'll be some application we can use that it can happen later. But you can always listen to it on YouTube. You can always listen to it on our page, and you can always listen to it on Google. So it's on all 3 of those. So hopefully, Tim, that'll answer your questions, and hopefully you'll come back and listen and watch. We would love to have you back.
And I'm still working on stuff to see if I can get it somehow to go, through an iTunes feed somehow. So,
Right.
I am working, but it just takes a while.
It's slow out there in the cold.
Oh, my Lord. Yeah, internet's really slow.
All right, so seriously, what is the
All right.
temperature right now before we go to the next question? Because you are sitting out there in the freezing cold.
I don't know. I have to pull my phone up here.
How cold is it really out there? I want to thank Pete and PHX Smoke for joining us in the chat room. We usually have a lot more people, but apparently you were the two lucky dogs that got in the chat room because everybody else is being denied access by Parachat, including Mike.
Including me. Well, right now, it actually says it's 35 degrees out here right now.
Oh, then what do you got a jacket on for? Take the jacket off. Well, see, you're sitting out there in the cold.
And it's snowing. I don't know. That's WeatherBug on my phone, so I don't know.
All right. And if you guys have a question in the chat you would like us to try to answer, to our best ability, just answer it. No question is stupid. We'd be happy to answer it. Maybe there's something we know or don't know. PHX helped us out earlier. We couldn't remember Marvin's name.
Yeah.
And I was on some Steve crack. I could. Steve.
Yeah, damn.
I was thinking, all right.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next question. Here.
Next question.
All right. David. David says, first, I love what Mike Forey is doing. Keep it up. Did you like that?
Way to go, David.
It says, first, I love what you guys are doing. Keep it up. My question is this. Why do so many bloggers get free cigars? Is it because they ask or they just get them from manufacturers?
All right. Why do so many bloggers get free cigars? Because that's the only fucking reason we do it. No, only kidding. Well, here's what I believe is why. I know when I get them from manufacturers, it's because either A, they're coming on our show and they want us to smoke their latest release. I know when I was reviewing cigars over at Mike Stogie's, it's because they want you to review their cigar. They want to know what you think. They want your audience because they know you have an audience, and they want you to get their cigar out there. Now, granted, if you don't like the cigar, it could hurt them a little bit. Reality is that's the main reason why they send free cigars. I know there's people who have blog sites that ask for free stuff. We over here, we never, ever, ever do that. And I got to tell you a little something. I think you'll find out. Oh, go ahead, bud.
No. I was going to say, now, when you say we never ask, actually, with some of our shows, with some of the boutique manufacturers, we just say, like Mike said earlier, if they send them to us for the show, because we can't get some of them locally.
Right.
So, if you want us to smoke your cigar,
right,
it's nice if you just send one or two or whatever you want to send. That way we can at least smoke them on the show.
That's true. I should correct. Thanks for correcting.
Yeah. We just can't guarantee that we would be able to find their cigar. And that's the reason behind it.
Right. That's exactly the reason. But there are sites that ask for them. And I'll tell you this, it tends to turn a manufacturer off when you constantly say, give me free cigars or I'm going to give you a bad review, because believe it or not, there truly are sites out there that do that. But the manufacturers do it. I'll tell you the one thing I found, forget Mike Stogie's, I'll talk about this site here. The one thing I found with this site is, manufacturers, a majority of our manufacturers are generous. You don't have to ask. Take our last show with George Rodriguez. Everybody in the chat room got a free 5-pack. He just said everybody in the chat room is going to get a free 5-pack. Everybody got a free 5-pack. So there are manufacturers that want you to try it. It benefits them to get the cigar out in people's hands, because then if they can do that, then if you like it, you're going to tell someone, they're going to tell someone, then you're going to start buying their cigars. So it benefits them to do it. But again, I think majority of them, they send it free because they want you to try it. They want your opinion. I think they truly do want your opinion. So what do you think? Mike? I think I lost Mike.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
You there?
I'm here.
All right, there you are.
I didn't know if it was you or me. It came up. It says your network connection is experiencing difficulties.
Well, that's got to be you. You're on the friggin' boonies.
Yep, that's me.
So, all right. So, what do you think on it, bud?
Ugh.
Looks like we got the people who couldn't make the chat are tuning in on Google. Our viewers went up on Google.
Good. You know, I get cigars periodically, and most of them are samples, like Mike said, so that I would have something to review. Or a lot of times they just want to know what you think. You know, they want to know what your opinion is. The other reason I think bloggers get some of the free samples is because we have the reach. You know, Mike was saying that. You know, when, you know, rather than sending it to Joe Schmo, who doesn't have a website, doesn't talk to people, goes to his local cigar shop, and that's it, bloggers have the internet where, you know, when we have our viewers on the site, you know, you can get tens, hundreds of thousands of people to view your website, and it gets the word out a lot further quicker, let's say. But yeah, I do not get, in all honesty, and I want to thank Gurkha again. Gurkha sent, well, Mike and I both, we actually got a box of cigars at Christmas. I handed out, probably 3/4 of it at my local shop, you know, to spread the love, you know.
Yeah, I gave some away on the show, too.
Yeah. And that is, I think that might be the first box I've gotten, at least within the past 2 years, at least. You know, it's not like I buy most every single cigar that I smoke.
That's because there's not a lot of manufacturers making the mild stuff anymore. Ha! I couldn't resist. That was too easy.
Or that like long-haired people. But no, you know, it is true. You know, when manufacturers get like me, I'm mild to medium, so when they're making this full-bodied stuff, you know, it's like, why do they want to send it to me when it's not in my flavor profile? There's plenty of other people they could send it to that are in that flavor profile that would enjoy it and probably give them a better review. Yeah. So, but yeah, some bloggers might get a whole ton of stuff, but I personally, I mean, like I said, samples here and there. Even when I do a review that I say like it was a sample from manufacturer or whatever, at the most it was 5 cigars, and most of the time it's only like 3 or 1 sometimes. So
yeah,
that's that.
Well, I'm going to, before we go forward, Pete asked a question. Pete the dog answered the question in the chat room. I think we should ask it. He said he's a novice cigar smoker. He said, should I pay attention to ratings in magazines or sample different brands? That's a great question. Go ahead, Mikey.
Both. The ratings are not nearly as important as anything else, but it gives you at least a starting point on what other people are enjoying. Just like blog sites. You have to try it yourself until you know. You know, I can sit here and say, like the Luchador. I love the Luchador. There's guys at my local shop that were like, are you fucking kidding me? You're going to name the Luchador #1 cigar? You know, true. You know, because everybody's preference, Mike says this all the time, you know, everybody's preference is different. Everybody's palate is different.
Yeah.
So I think it's a nice starting point for you. You know, especially with just starting out. You know, try some of the higher rated cigars, you know, or whatever, and see what you think of them. And if they don't impress you, then move on. You know, and then you'll find your area after a while, and you'll be able to sit like bloggers, like Mike and I talked about before. You know, Mike likes full-bodied cigars, and I'm mild medium cigars. You know, if we would each do reviews yet, if you're a full-bodied smoker, you'd pay more attention to Mike than you would me. If you're mild to medium, you'd pay more attention to me than you would Mike. You know, that's just, you'll find your niche, and once you find that niche, then you'll be able to find more and more cigars that are in line with what you enjoy.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, the one thing I would say is definitely try everything. I mean, don't go looking for a full body cigar being a new guy, because it's probably going to knock you on your ass. B, it's going to give you a bad experience. because you're not ready for that. You know, I didn't start out smoking full body cigars. I built a tolerance, and that's what I prefer. And not that there's anything wrong with mild cigars. It's just for me being a full body guy, I don't get the flavor enjoyment out of it as I do a medium to full body cigar. Doesn't mean it's not flavorful. For me, it's not what I'm looking for in a cigar. So with that said, I agree with Mike. I would look at both the ratings and that, but just try a lot of different cigars, because what's going to happen is it takes time. Okay, I've been smoking cigars for 26, 27 years. You know what I mean? And
God, you're old.
Yeah, a long time. So now I can go and I know now what tobacco I like, what tobacco I don't like, what ring gauge I like, what ring gauge I don't like, what shape I like. And all these things, as you progress down the line, you're going to learn what you like, and then you'll know when a manufacturer comes out with something that you'll have at least an idea, hey, that might be something I like. That might be in my wheelhouse. Let me go try that. So I agree with Mike. Look at the magazines. Don't take the ratings to heart, though. Again, those are people just like us giving their opinion. It doesn't mean they're right. It doesn't mean they're wrong. It's just an opinion. Just like these questions, when we answer them, they're just opinions. That's all. But we are usually right. But anyways, check them out. But hopefully that'll answer your question, Pete. So try everything.
Cool. All right. Let's see. Mark has a question. Oh, here. This is good. This will actually be right up your alley, I think. I hear people talking when they smoke a cigar about a burnt steak taste, and they say it's amazing. To me, that would be nasty. Can you better explain that?
Okay. Yeah. Every time I've had a burnt steak taste in my mouth when I smoked a cigar, I can tell you from my years of experience, it's always been an amazing cigar. Now, I don't get it all the time. I probably got it 5 to 10 times in my lifetime of smoking, I could tell you. What it is if you take a steak on a griddle, a nice piece of steak where the fatty ends, they get really crisp and burnt, and you cut that with the meat. If you taste that separate from the regular meat, it has this real charcoaly, woody taste to it. It's really hard to describe, but when you have it, you'll know right away, because you'll be like, whoa, that's burnt steak. But you had to have burnt steak before. It sounds like a bad. I equate it to this. I remember when I review cigars, I'd be like, wow, and I smell the tip or the foot, I'd be like, man, that smells like shit. And everybody be like, oh, why do you want to smoke something that smells like shit? It's not the shit like you're thinking. It's that earthiness, that barnyard smell, and it's hard to describe. You know, it's like tomato, potato. It's hard to explain. But the burnt. Next time you cook a steak, get the edges burnt a little bit, and then cut a little piece off of that, and then cut a piece in the middle, and taste them separately. And you'll know the difference right away. And then when you get a cigar and you taste it, I'll bank on it that, who's it, Mark? Mark, I'll make this bet to you. I'll bet you a box of cigars that you'll enjoy. It'll be one of the best cigars you ever smoked. That's how confident I am in the burnt steak taste. I'll bet you a box of cigars within $250. I guarantee you won't take that. You won't get that bet, because you're going to enjoy it. I promise you. So, what do you think, Mike?
And most of them are fuller-bodied cigars that you'll get that in. That's why I said
you won't get it on a mild cigar. I've never had one. No.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, when people say burnt steak, and I even use like a burnt meat taste, it's actually a little misleading. It's more the fat. It's more the burnt fat.
Right.
That's on,
the griddle,
yeah,
whatever they call it, yeah.
And it's like you cook a steak on the grill, and you get it nice and dark, or at the fat, like Mike said, and just taste it, and that's exactly what it tastes like. You got
to taste the difference though between that and the middle part without the fat.
Yeah.
You're gonna know right away.
Yeah.
You're gonna know right away when you get it on a cigar. And I know I'm not the only one who says this in the past, who's tried it. I know a lot of people who I have respect for in this industry who smoke cigars, and when they get it, they're like, holy shit, that was one of the best cigars I've ever smoked. It just comes with it. I can't explain it. I don't know if it's a figment of my imagination and others, but you'll know it the minute you do it. So you
Well,
have
and
it.
that's like the barnyard. The stronger the barnyard is on a cigar, the more I really enjoyed that cigar. I mean, it's amazing if you get one that's really strong. So
Yeah, and you got to remember the difference too, real quick. The difference between, when I say earthy, I don't mean like grass, like you're smoking grass off the ground. That's a disgusting earthy taste. That's not the kind of earthy taste. I'm talking where you could taste the soils where this tobacco was grown in. That's what I'm talking about when I say earthy. So, all right. Let's see what we got here now. We got Bill. I'm looking on my phone here. Bill, right?
yeah,
Yeah, okay. Bill says, do you guys feel the smaller boutique manufacturers utilize bloggers better than, say, the bigger guys, i.e. Padron, Fuente, for example? Yeah, go ahead there, Mikey.
Yeah, we answered that pretty much before, but yeah, they do. Just because they don't have the money like these bigger companies have, that they can afford to spend tens of thousands of dollars to advertise in magazines and everything like that. So for them, bloggers are kind of like a godsend because it's basically free advertising for them. And even cheap advertising if they pay for an ad on a website. A website ad is so much cheaper than an ad in any magazine that's out there. It's amazing. But yeah, I mean, like I said, we went through this before, so I'll let it at that and see if you have anything else to add to it.
No, I'd agree with you 100%. I do think that the smaller boutique blends manufacturers, they find a more benefit through us bloggers and shows like ourselves. I think it definitely benefits them. But I think the big guys too. When I say big guys, I know I throw it out there myself, Padron Fuente. But don't get me wrong. Tatuaje's huge. Garcia family, they're huge. Drew Estates, they're huge. There's a lot of huge guys still, and we look at a lot of them as not being that big, but they're big. But I think everybody benefits from bloggers. Whether it's good or bad, I think they benefit. I think even bad press is good press. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. But all right. We'll move on here. All right, now we're at 8. Pete wants to know. Says, this may sound dumb.
No, wait.
But,
oh, yeah, you skipped 7. I forgot. You went to 7 first off.
All right.
See, it fucked me all up, man.
See?
Man.
Pete wants to know. He said, this may sound dumb, but I'm green to cigars in the cigar world. But I bought a box of cigars and was having trouble getting the first one out of the box. He said, I ended up tipping the box upside down. What's the trick?
If I didn't know any better, I think this was Pete at my work, who's Pete the dog in the chat room. That's too coincidental. Anyways, Pete. Well, let me answer that. I know the gentleman Pete the dog. He's works for me at my company, and he's new to cigar smoking. So I know that he got a box of cigars, and he didn't tip them upside down. If you look at a box of cigar, there's always one cigar that if you look at the cellophane, if it's in cello, let me rephrase that. If it's in cellophane, the cellophane, instead of being bent back, but being bent backwards, will be bent forward. So when you pull that out, it's easier so you don't damage the cigars. And when you get through that first layer, on the bottom, there will be another one doing the same way. Now, when you get cigars that aren't in cellophane, there's usually a ribbon. And the ribbon is what you pull up, and that'll take the first cigar out. And it continues when you get to the bottom. So that's basically how you do it. You don't have to tip the box up, and it's not a dumb question because you know what? I've been there when I first started out. I'm like, I remember, I'm going to tell you a story. I remember a long time ago when I first started smoking, and the first box of cigars I ever purchased, which was my hands down favorite, got me into cigar smoking, was a La Gloria Cubana Series R Maduro number 6. I smoked boxes of those cigars. I owe my cigar life to Ernesto. That's all I'm going to tell you. Granted, he doesn't make them anymore, but I remember the first box I bought for Ernesto, and they came in little square cubes. They weren't the long, wider boxes. I ruined 2 cigars trying to get that fucking cigar out, man. I'm telling you, I'm picking, trying to do it, and I cracked the wrapper on 2 of them, and then I finally realized, hey, wait a minute, that plastic's different than the other ones.
Now, I will say I have actually had boxes where they messed up and the cellophane was not that way, and there was not one turned upside down, so you could just pull the cellophane up like that with the tail.
Oh, really?
Now, yeah. Now, the easiest way that I'll use to do it, depending on how the box is made, sometimes you can just get your just a little bit of your thumb right at the foot. Don't do it at the head of the cigar. Do it at the foot of the cigar, and just pull it up and then get it with your other hand. If you can't do that, like the knife that you use to slice the seal that's on it, I'll slip it down in right at the foot. Don't ever do it at the head of the cigar. Always do it at the foot, and then just bend it in just slightly and pull it up, and then you can pull it out too. I mean, everything with cigars has to be gentle, especially when you're trying to get it out of the box and things like that.
It's like a woman. You got to be gentle.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
That's a good question, though. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a great question. We all had to start somewhere, man. All right, let's see. Joe says, I'm hearing in your last few shows regarding a trip. Can anyone advise more details? Oh, boy. All right, I'm going to answer this one. Yep. No, I can't. I can't give you any more details right now. I'm in touch with the people. I gave them my word that I would not say anything as of yet, but I could just tell you this. We are working on it. But this is what I do need. Anybody listening to the show that wants to go on a trip to either the Dominican or the Nicaragua with Stogie 411 as a Stogie 411 trip, you have to send me an email confirming that you want to go, because there are certain numbers, and I know from some other trips they sell out fast, really fast. So send me an email to mikew@stogie401.com. Just say, yes, Mike, I would like to go. Send me your name and address just so I can get back to you. I'm putting together a list. It is something we're trying to do, but right now I cannot give any details because I swore I would not. And I'm not going to say with who. I just can't. So that's all I can say about that. You got anything you want to add to it? Or
no, it's still one of those things where it might just be Mike taking you on the trip.
No, we're going to find a fucking way to get the hippie on their plane.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're going to find a way. Yeah, well, we're going to find a way.
Any other questions in the chat? I can't look.
No, I don't think so, but we still have number 10 to go. And
yeah, I want to check.
We're almost at the hour mark. We don't have to go right to the hour. You're cold outside. I mean, it's 35. It's 73 in here. I don't know what you're complaining about.
Yeah, bastard. I don't know. I wonder if the temperature dropped. That's what I was going to look here. I mean, it's supposed to actually drop throughout the day.
Oh, you dropped your thing? You want me to ask it?
No, I got it. Number 10, Anthony wants to know, why won't you guys review cigars live on your show? I know you said you wanted before, but things change.
All right, go ahead.
Well, because I'm still reviewing cigars. That's, Mike and I said about it in the beginning. He had his site, and I'm over at a Stogie Review, and as long as we were reviewing cigars, we were making this show something different. This show wasn't about reviewing cigars per se. It was more about getting you in touch with manufacturers, with representatives even from the company, and doing shows like this, the You Ask It shows, which I love. I mean, Mike enjoys them too. I mean, and you guys seem to, and gals, I'm sorry, you guys and gals seem to really enjoy them also. So it really hasn't been like on the front burner for me, at least, to get it going. And the other part of that equation is, like Mike said, we're almost at the hour, and I still have quite a bit of cigar left. So we would almost have to change our shows to a 2-hour show. Right. In order to be able to smoke the entire cigar to get through it. But what do you think, Mike?
Well, I'm really, if you want to know the truth, I don't even know why they haven't even friggin' fired Mike. I mean, can they fire you? You're not paid. I don't know. They can't fire you. You're not paid. But I don't know how come they haven't fired him already. And then we be doing it. But no, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. Anyways, we did agree. I'm torching the shit out of my cigar right now. We did agree that we want to do something different, and we believe we have something different. I mean, I believe that because we have other people following kind of the format that we do in some shape or way, and that's what we agreed on. Now, not to say that down the road it couldn't happen. Anything could happen. I mean, we're both open to changes. Yeah, Mike's right. I mean, I'm midway, not even onto this, so I'm going to be sitting down here finishing this. So we would have to do a 2-hour show. So how much shit can you say in 2 hours reviewing a cigar? There would have to be a break in between. So would people really stay on? I could see doing it. I could see this. Not doing like a review. I could see having a manufacturer on, and I know we spoke of this before, Mike, where we would have that day, the week before we were having that manufacturer on, we would tell everybody, we're going to smoke X cigar. Join us and smoke that cigar, and we're all going to give our feelings and thoughts to the manufacturer. We've talked about that. We've talked about coming up, working with a cigar shop that would give a good price if everybody bought a 3 or 5 pack. And they would send it to everybody, and then everybody could interact and smoke, or even if the manufacturers could send it, whatever. We tossed that idea around. And again, everything's open. I don't ever want to say, no, we won't do it, because you never know what would happen, right?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
now,
Yeah.
we made an agreement when we started this out of respect for both our sites. Now, I'm no longer doing it, and out of respect for the other site that Mike works on, that we would not do it. And we're going to be men of our words, and we're not going to do it. If the day comes and Mike's no longer there, then we'll decide from there what we're going to do. But for now, we're going to keep this format because it works, and that's it.
And I do. I like what we do. I like
fire Mike.
Yeah. But the other part of it is also where when we're smoking a cigar to review. I know when Mike and I would actually chat. On Skype or whatever, sometimes like when he was reviewing or I was reviewing, we're just sitting there smoking. And you have to take notes, you have to keep track of what you're smoking, what taste you're getting.
Right.
And it kind of takes your attention. Where, with doing a live show and trying to talk to a manufacturer at the same time, we're never going to get the cigar the way we would doing an actual review. Because we won't be able to pay that much attention to it. But for a generalized review, yeah, I could see it happening, down the road in the future. But it's still the time factor is going to be hard to do. And I don't know. I mean, maybe the guys in the chat room can answer this for us. If it would be something where we would have everybody have, tell everybody get the same cigar. We're going to smoke it with the manufacturer on the show. I mean, would you stay around for an hour and a half or 2 hours just smoking the cigar and chatting? Is that something that you would be interested in? There's a question for the viewers out there. They can comment, email us, or type right there in the chat.
Yeah. So that's it. We're open to it. We'll see, but there's a lot of what is it? Speed bumps to get through first to go to there. So I guess that's probably the best way to say it. Well, all right. Well, we're about 10 minutes early. We're done with our questions. I want to apologize to anybody who watches this later. Apparently, Parachat has a problem. We confirmed that. Parachat is the paid chat site that we use to do our chat, and apparently they were down. So whoever got lucky to get into the chat room early enough got in. And if you look at our site, it's all screwed up thanks to Parachat. But you'll be able to watch this. Our next show is going to be in a few weeks, and we're going to have Clint Aaron back from 262 Cigars. Looking forward to that. So we love doing the You Ask It show. It seems to be popular. I don't know why anybody wants our opinion, but it seems to be very popular, and so we enjoy doing it. So send your questions in, because now we are officially out. These last 10 questions, 6 of them were from last year that we never got to. So send in your questions again. Well, we'd be happy to ask them. Again, we want to apologize to anybody who couldn't get into the chat room. Thanks to our viewers on Google for watching us, and everybody on YouTube. We appreciate it. Thanks for all our supporters. As always, make sure you like us, like our Facebook page, Stogie411. Follow us on Twitter at Stogie411. at Nightrid at Hogman21, and subscribe to our feed and tell your friends about it. Anything you want to end there before you become